Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today we are checking out another episode of Band of Brothers. Today is episode 9, Why We Fight, and so many people are saying that this episode is a real tearjerker. This one will hit me in my heartstrings and I'm really excited for this. Every episode of Band of Brothers so far has been absolutely amazing, but this is the one that people say is the best. It is the second last episode of the show, and I'm wondering if Easy Company, if this episode is going to be about Easy Company on their break before they get into Germany, or if this episode is going to be the start of the German invasion. I guess German invasion is the wrong way to put it, but you know what I mean. The start of Easy Company getting into Germany. And before we get into this reaction, let me do the lighting. So we can turn the light, we said what color? It should be boop. Nice. Okay, so the lighting today, I'm actually going to go blue, which may be a little strange to you guys, but blue because this episode is supposed to be sad, and I think blue is a sad color, so blue and sad episode equals sadness overall. And if you'd like to check out more of my reactions, you can head over to my Patreon of uncut and early access reactions to all of my Band of Brothers episodes, as well as other episodes of shows such as DS9 and my movies that come out up to 3 weeks early. Anyways, thank you so much for checking it out. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, let's dive on into this episode. I don't think I'm ready, but anyways, let's do this thing. I hope you enjoy my reaction to Band of Brothers episode 9, Why We Fight.
Well, but there was something in there that, hey, there was a kid. Most of them were kids. We all...
Aww.
As the war went along, we found out also that it wasn't the Germans per se.
A lot of those,
That's so interesting.
you never know, Of course, they were doing what they were supposed to do, and I was trying to do what I was supposed to do.
Wait, I like this outlook from these guys.
Under different circumstances, we might have been good friends.
It's really sad to think about as well. Every time I get chills. Every time right there. Only 2 more episodes left, guys. Only 2 more episodes. I don't want this show to end though. It's so good. Why We Fight. Let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. Why do violins always make me teary-eyed? What the heck? Just a kid eating on the pile of rubble. Probably used to be someone's house. It's pretty admirable that they're playing music, actually.
All he needs is a little Mozart.
Beethoven.
Beethoven.
Mozart. That's Beethoven.
So Easy Company are in Germany now, and they've just taken a town, it looks like.
But George! Hold on a second. Hold on. Hey, come on. I just want to talk to you.
So she didn't know they were in there.
Why don't you leave her alone?
Frank, why don't you just leave me alone, okay? You don't like chocolate? Forget it, I don't like chocolate either. Have a fish.
I'd pick up that chocolate bar.
Hey, Captain Nixon?
That was.
So what happened? No dice with the Fräulein?
No dice. She smacked me in the mouth.
Yeah.
Hey,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
you lose your cigarette? All right.
God, yeah. Oh, God.
I wasn't expecting this from Band of Brothers. Are they just taking things, though?
Sir, I think so. Same destination?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'll make sure it goes out first thing in the morning.
Where's it going to? His home?
Home, sir.
Oh, no.
Find his keepers.
What if he doesn't get home? Why would someone say that at the start of the episode?
Dog. Making combat jumps with the 17th. I'm in supply briefings all morning.
I love Winters. Even when he eats something, he's cool.
Where's jump wings?
Not bad for someone who's never fired his weapon in combat, huh?
Really?
You actually haven't?
Not even with all the action we've seen?
Not around.
I didn't even realize that, actually.
The rest of the boys?
Well, they blew up over Germany somewhere.
Oh,
Boom.
man. Just like that.
You know, the real tragedy is they also lost their CO, so guess who gets to write all the letters home?
You.
She'll be happy to hear that Sink is transferring you back down to Battalion S3.
What do you think I should write to these parents, Dick?
What do you write to them?
What I said, Nix, you've been demoted.
Yeah, demoted.
You tell them what you always tell them. Our sons died as heroes.
I really still believe that.
I feel like you'd feel so bad writing that, though, you know?
Don't you?
Like, obviously you want your the families to be proud of them. But it's not actually what happened. It's like you're covering stuff up, you know?
Smells sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain.
Yeah, good song, good song.
Bridges when they headed back over the Rhine. I guess our boys in the 17th Airborne did okay after all. Forget it.
Good for them, good for them.
Don't think. Damn replacements.
Fair enough.
Oh, yeah? Any sex in it?
Ain't that kind of book. See ya.
Yeah. See ya.
Hey, this is kind of cool, though, just seeing some of the soldiers interact.
Is that right? Yep. Patrick O'Keefe. My friends call me Patty.
Okay, Patty, well, he's trying to read. Okay.
Shut up. When do I get to jump into Berlin? 2 days later, there they are, with their blood and guts hanging out.
Oh.
Germany is almost as good as being home. I even got to wipe my ass with real toilet paper today. So quit asking.
Wow. That is a luxury, actually. Apologize.
When you ship out? A few weeks ago? It's been 2 years since I seen home.
Jeez, that's a long time.
Check out the embankment on the far side. President's dead.
The president.
Well, I'll call you two.
He's drinking so much. No.
Captain Nixon, good to see you, sir. I think I have some mail for you.
Oh, yeah?
Whiskey?
Yeah, particular brand of whiskey.
At 69.
You can only drink that? Why do you only want to drink that?
It ain't gonna be cheap.
Well, that won't be a problem.
Hey, Bess, you have news?
That is Tom Hardy, right?
Sir, your mail.
Nix is a mess at the moment. Because he has a lot of guilt on his conscience.
Dog? Look. Kath is divorcing me.
What?
Sorry.
Why?
He's taking everything.
I'm really worried for Nix in this episode.
House.
That near Berlin, sir?
Nope, that's in Bavaria.
Everyone wants to go to Berlin.
All right, nice.
He did want to give it to him. It's really interesting to see how everyone has so much hope and life because the war is nearing an end. But Nix is the complete opposite. That is a beautiful location.
She hates that dog.
He's still on. I mean, I would be on that as well. Why would she do that? This guy has been fighting for you, basically, and then you divorce him and leave him with nothing. Like, what does he have when he comes back?
Shit. What's it about? It's about why we're fighting the war.
Yes, this is the episode title.
Very bad. You don't say. The Germans are bad, huh?
That's one way to put it.
Finish school first, and then,
Wait a minute, finish school?
Yeah, he was still in school.
Well, figured that.
He graduated.
Hey, you know what?
He didn't have the chance. I actually want to know what he studies.
literature.
Hey, same, basically.
Yeah.
You are now entering enemy territory. I love that there's a sign for that. Well, this is insane. They're kicking people out of their homes. Wow. Wow, what a shot. So all the people have to leave their homes, and then the troops come into the town to secure the town. Or are those not? No! Those are German soldiers. They're not even civilians, they're German soldiers.
Bastards! That's right! Say hello to Ford! And
Wow.
General fucking
Got him.
ignorant, servile scum! What the fuck are we doing here? Huh?
Oh, wow. And I like what Webster was saying, and then you go back to the talking heads at the start of this episode saying that the Germans were just doing their jobs. It's interesting. Are you allowed to do that? I feel like if you're just executing prisoners like that, how much better are you than the enemy?
The woods have third swing around.
Yes, sir. First Sergeant Talbot!
Not worried about an ambush, are you?
No.
No, but yes.
Okay.
Sarge,
Why the hell are you so jumpy, boy?
I'm not jumpy.
This is like one of his first missions.
Hey, George. Kind of reminds you of Bastogne.
It does a little bit, actually. It's like, finally, whiskey. Why does he only want to drink one brand? There's some general's house or something. Oh, and the dog. Oh God, I'm so stressed. The safeties are off. Oh, look at that shot. What happened? Why are you running? What happened?
Yeah, Major Winners is right there.
Yeah, what's happening? What's so important? What did they see?
What? Frank, what is it?
I don't know, sir.
I don't know. Oh my God, it's a camp. Did they not even know about this? Oh, look at that person. Oh my God. I wasn't expecting this at all.
Back.
Oh. I have full body chills right now.
Front, right now.
Sure.
All right, boys. These people need care. Give them water and any spare.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh. This is one of the most vivid descriptions of one of these types of camps. And wasn't one of the things where when they found these people, you can't feed or get them to drink water like in huge quantities because their stomachs had shrunk so much, so you had to feed and make them drink like really slow. Oh. Oh, I'm so cold.
Lebend.
Well, the prisoner's still in him, sir.
Oh,
Jesus
what?
Christ.
Sorry guys, this reaction now is just becoming ohs and whats. I have nothing else to say.
The prisoner, so
Töteten so viele sie konnten.
killed as many as they could.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think so.
So they just burnt huts, massacred the prisoners until they had no bullets left.
Nein.
No.
Ärzte, Musiker, Beamte, Bauern,
Doctors, musicians.
Schreiber.
Just regular people.
Jews.
Yeah, there we go.
Wie bitte? Was sagen Sie?
Dass das Frauenlager bei...
Isn't this guy who's talking, he's Jewish too? No? He wanted to marry someone who's Jewish.
Look at their arms.
I have no words. I have no words. Oh, wow. Oh my god. This is the absolute worst that mankind has to offer. Seeing them say thank you and stuff is heart touching. I don't know the words at the moment. My nose is running too much. I need some tissue. Oh. Sorry guys, that was gross.
Let's go. Let's pick up the pace here. Come on.
That was the most emotional scene of Band of Brothers yet. No, sorry guy, this is for a cause. I don't care if they're stealing from you anymore. Don't shoot him. He's not a Nazi.
Bitte töten Sie mich nicht. Ich verstehe nicht, was Sie da sagen.
He says he doesn't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, I bet. I wonder if the citizens never even knew.
Well, Sergeant. Now, Doc, you tell Major Winters, Captain Nixon, what you just told me.
Yes, sir. We need to stop giving these men food.
This is what I said. This is what I said.
Themselves to death. We need to keep them in the camp till we can find a place for them in town.
Yeah, I said this earlier. You have to feed them in really small rations.
Been taking medical treatment, so until we find someplace better.
Girl's sick.
But at least give them like a bed and stuff, you know what I mean? And let them know what's going to happen.
Oh, für eine kurze Zeit.
Imagine having to say this to them.
Es ist für ihr eigenes Buch.
Oh man. Oh man. Like, I do understand that they're saving these people, but to just put them back into the camp for a bit, it's like an extra layer of torture, you know what I mean? Because then the Jewish people in the camp are like, they don't fully understand what's going on.
Seems the Russians liberated one a lot worse.
Worse.
Oh, did they liberate Auschwitz?
General Taylor declared martial law about an hour ago. Ordered every able-bodied German in town aged 14 to 80 to start burying them.
Wow, really?
Tail them, thaw them, tomorrow. 1,200 hours.
Okay. And that's where we were at the start of the episode. Something that you never really see in movies is the smell of these camps, which this show is portraying really well. It's the smell of death. See, I don't think the citizens knew, and I think they're shocked. Shocked is an understatement, actually. Oh, it's this woman. It's this woman. She would have known, right? Because her husband was a general or something. It's Beethoven. We're here now.
Hitler's dead.
And he's dead. There we go. Because he died before the war ended.
But he didn't.
And here we are. During the following months, Allied forces discovered numerous POW concentration and death camps. These camps were part of the Nazi attempt to effect the final solution to the Jewish question. Between 1942 and 1945, 5 million ethnic minorities and 6 million Jews were murdered, many of them in the camp. I knew that that the Germans and stuff were all about the Aryan race being the superior race, but I didn't know that ethnic minorities also went to the camps. I thought it was just Jewish people who went to the camps. And that was my reaction to Why We Fight, episode 9 of Band of Brothers. And this review is going to be not the best because I literally just pressed pause on the episode to end the episode. And my nose is running and my eyes have some water in them. I don't know if it's tears or, it's just raining in my room, and there's just water kind of forming in my eyes a little bit. But you know what? It's not tears. It's not tears. But this episode was the best episode so far. This episode was definitely the best episode so far, and I'm going to be honest, don't know if I really have the brain cognition to fully form thoughts on why I think this is the best episode so far. The episode just ended, and that's how I feel. and I'm going off of this feeling in the first place. You know what I mean? That's how I usually do my reviews, I guess. I finish the movie, I finish the show, the episode, and I go, how do I feel about that episode? You know what I mean? Even if I don't have the full formed thoughts for the episode. But this one was big. I mean, it was already really good. It was already really good until the halfway point of the episode. And then we get to the halfway point of the episode. We get to the part where we get to the concentration camps. And then we get that reveal. And the episode goes from great to absolutely amazing. But in this step up from great to absolutely amazing, it also goes from like amazing to horrific. Like not horrifically bad, but horrific in terms of what we are seeing on screen. And I have to say, this was one of the more visceral showings and depictions of a concentration camp that I've ever seen in media. Like, I've watched Schindler's List. I watched it on the channel. If you haven't seen my reaction to that, go check it out, because I absolutely loved that movie. But it was also a really tough watch. But this depiction of the Holocaust, I mean, the depiction of the Holocaust in Schindler's List is pretty much the whole Holocaust from the start to the end, and the concentration camps. It's very brutal. It's a very brutal movie, don't get me wrong. But this one felt more brutal, but it also felt more realistic in a way. I don't know, there were just extra things about this, the dead bodies lining the road and like the dirt and stuff like that, the skinniness of the bodies, the frailness of the bodies and stuff like that. I loved that they had that attention to detail about the feeding of the people in the concentration camps. And I was saying that before the show even brought that up, but I was pretty sure that, you know, because they had been starved so much, because they barely ate anything, their stomachs had shrank and shrank and shrank and shrank, and so eating too much and drinking too much would cause them to die. I'm not quite sure scientifically how that would cause them to die, but I was pretty sure that was a thing. And then when the show brought it up, I was like, oh yeah, my knowledge is here, you know what I mean? But yeah, seeing that, and then seeing like how close together they sleep, seeing them, or not seeing them, but hearing about them getting shot, how their huts and houses and stuff were burnt down, how they were just regular people just living their lives and brought into the camp. And it was also the smell, showing the smell in the show was something that I haven't really seen done before in media. Even in Schindler's List, I don't really know if there was a time where you can see characters viscerally throwing up and holding handkerchiefs to their faces because of the smell of these concentration camps. But in this episode, we got to see that. We got to feel, at least, or see what it would have been like to smell death. You know what I mean? To smell death, which is also a really interesting concept. I'm actually reading, let me just grab it. I'm reading this book right now called The Backwash of War, which is about an American nurse in World War I. So not World War II, but in World War I. But she's a nurse, and so she talks about all of these. It's called The Backwash of War. I don't know if I already said that. But she talks about all of these like cases and all of these people and soldiers that she has to deal with and treat and stuff like that, and how a lot of them she can't actually treat. Like a lot of them just die off. But she talks about the smell of death, and she talks about smell a lot in this book. I'm only halfway through it at the moment, but she talks about smell a lot. And so it's something that media doesn't really pick up on, or at least movies about war doesn't really pick up on, is that war smells, but there is a distinct smell of death. You know what I mean? There's a difference between something that just smells bad and something that smells like death, and people know the difference. And this book talks about that, and I think this episode knew that and picked up on it and relayed that information really, really well, where it wasn't just something that smelled bad. It wasn't just that the people in the concentration camps hadn't showered in a long time, for instance, and they smelled bad. The camp itself smelled like death, and it made the soldiers think of death, which is a really interesting concept, but one that I can't dive into more at the moment because I want to talk about something else. I also really liked Nix's journey in this episode, and Why We Fight actually I think really relates to Nix. I think it relates to all the soldiers in the war, and because in this episode, the first half of this episode, there were a lot of talk about soldiers and soldiers' families and what they're going to do when the war is over and stuff like that, and how they're basically, there was one talk, I think Spear said at one point that the war has become less about fighting and more about who gets to to do what for like the glory of war and stuff like that, which was really interesting. But I think Why We Fight specifically relates to Nix in this episode as well, because Nix lost a lot of stuff at the start of this episode. He lost his wife, he lost his kids, he lost his dog, he lost his house, he lost his rank, he got demoted, he lost his whiskey, you know, like everything was looking very bleak for Nix, and the reasons to why he was fighting in his mind were gone, you know what I mean? Like, he was fighting for his family, he was fighting for his home, he was fighting for his country, but most of those things weren't in his life anymore. Like, his wife had taken most of those stuff, including herself, out of the picture, and so what was his reason to fight anymore? You know what I mean? And then he stumbles upon the concentration camp. And there's this realization in him, and that I think he is very changed by the end. By the time he says Beethoven and stuff like that and the war is over, he's a very changed person at that point, because he realizes that the war is much bigger than just himself, that the war that he is fighting not just for his family and not just for his wife and his house and his home, but he is fighting for these people, like the Jewish people in that concentration camp that he helped to liberate. He's fighting against this cruelty, this inhumanity, you know what I mean? He's fighting for a much bigger picture that he didn't realize until that moment. And I thought that was a really interesting realization that not just Nix would have had at that moment, that many, if not all of the soldiers would have had in that moment. But specifically in this episode, it was Nix who was the central focus. And I think Nix really had that realization. And I think the episode really pounded that message home really, really well. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the episode at the moment. I'm still just kind of thinking it over. My nose is super stuffed up from just tearing up. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but it's like clogged. I can't even breathe through it at the moment. I need to like just forcefully blow everything out, which is a little gross. I would do that off camera. So I'll end the review here and say thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to these wonderful, beautiful, amazing people right here for supporting me and supporting my channel. It really does mean a lot. If you'd like to check out the very last episode of Band of Brothers, you can watch it on Patreon right now for just $3 a month. Besides that, I have other episodes of shows such as Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which you can watch up to 3 weeks early access and uncut reactions are all on Patreon as well for my movies, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Band of Brothers, everything else. It's pretty awesome. Go check it out if you'd like. If not, I'll see you next week for Band of Brothers episode 10. See you then.